The vast emptiness of space stretched before the UES horizon as it cruised through uncharted territory. Lieutenant Jack Harding stood at his post on the bridge, his blue eyes fixed on the sensor readings that had caught his attention. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures at coordinates 227 to 8344, Jack reported, his voice steady despite the flutter of excitement in his chest. After 3 years of routine patrols, they had finally found something worth investigating. Captain Lisa Boyd nodded. "Take us in, Lieutenant. Standard approach protocols." As the horizon adjusted course, Jack couldn't help but think of Olivia back on Earth. His fiancée would be fascinated by this discovery. He smiled at the thought of telling her all about it when he returned home in just 2 months. The alien vessel came into view on the main screen, a structure like nothing any human had seen before. It seemed to shimmer between states of matter, parts of it almost translucent, while others appeared solid as steel. Most concerning were the visible fractures along its hull, leaking a faint purple glow. "Radiation levels are climbing, Captain," warned Samantha, the ship's science officer. "It's nothing like our standard classifications." Jack studied the readings. The pattern suggests some kind of containment breach. If those levels continue to rise at this rate, both vessels could be compromised. Captain Boyd ordered an emergency team to prepare for possible evacuation, but Jack had already done the calculations. There wasn't enough time. "Captain, request permission to take a shuttle and attempt manual containment," Jack said, already moving toward the elevator. "The radiation appears to respond to certain metals in our hull. I might be able to seal it temporarily." "Denied, Lieutenant." "Too risky," Boyd replied firmly. Jack paused. "With respect, Captain, we have 27 crew members aboard. The math doesn't favor waiting." Their eyes met, and in that moment, an understanding passed between them. They both knew what Jack was really saying. "Permission granted," she said quietly. "Godspeed, Harding." The shuttle approached the alien vessel's wounded section. Jack's hands moved steadily across the controls despite knowing what awaited him. The radiation protection suit might give him 10 minutes at most. It would be enough. "I'm applying the sealant compound directly to the breach," he reported through the comms. "It's working. Radiation levels are starting to stabilize." What he didn't report was the strange way the alien material seemed to respond to his presence, almost like it was aware. As he worked, a tendril of purple energy escaped and touched his arm. The suit's material dissolved instantly, exposing his skin. Blood beaded on the small cut, but instead of drifting away in the low gravity, it was drawn toward the alien substance. The moment they made contact, Jack felt a jolt unlike anything he'd ever experienced. "Lieutenant, your vitals are spiking." The medical officer's voice crackled through his helmet. Jack couldn't answer. His blood wasn't just being absorbed by the alien material, it was transforming it. The breach sealed itself completely as the purple energy flowed into his body, following the path of his bloodstream. "Mission accomplished," he finally managed to say, his voice strained. "The breach is contained." As the shuttle's autopilot carried him back to the horizon, Jack knew he wouldn't survive. The radiation levels in his body had gone beyond fatal, yet somehow he felt strangely at peace. His last thoughts were of Olivia, her smile, her laugh, the future they had planned together. Jack closed his eyes as the energy pulsed through his veins, changing him in ways he would never understand. Lieutenant Jack Harding died as the shuttle docked with the horizon. But across the galaxy, something awakened. News of Jack Harding's sacrifice spread quickly through the human colonies. Within days, his name became synonymous with heroism and duty. But for Olivia Grant, the reports brought only emptiness where her future should have been. She sat in her lab at the Xenobiology Research Center, staring blankly at the samples before her. 3 weeks had passed since the official notification, yet she still reached for her comm unit each evening, expecting Jack's call. "Dr. Grant." A voice pulled her from her thoughts. "Admiral Payne is here to see you." Olivia straightened her lab coat and nodded. Admiral William Payne had been Jack's mentor since his academy days. The older man entered with a solemn expression that softened when he saw her. "Ms. Grant," he said gently, "I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. Thank you for coming, Admiral." She gestured to a chair. "I understand the Horizon has returned to Earth orbit." The Admiral nodded. "Yes, along with the alien vessel. That's partly why I'm here." He placed a data pad on her desk. "We're assembling a research team to study it. Given your expertise in alien biology, we'd like you to join." Olivia hesitated. Working with the very thing that had taken Jack from her seemed impossible. Yet something in the Admiral's expression suggested there was more. "There's something unusual about this situation," Payne continued, lowering his voice. "The official report doesn't mention certain anomalies we've observed." Before she could question him further, her lab assistant Kate Miller burst through the door, her face flushed with excitement. "Dr. Grant, you need to see this immediately." Kate rushed to the sample storage unit and pulled out a sealed container labeled Harding J. Blood sample. Pre-mission physical. "Kate, this isn't appropriate," Olivia began. "Please," Kate insisted, placing the container under a microscope. "Look." When Olivia peered through the lens, her scientific training temporarily overcame her grief. Jack's blood cells were moving in patterns that defied biological understanding. They reorganized themselves constantly, forming complex structures before dissolving and starting again. "This isn't possible," she whispered. "These samples were taken before his mission." Admiral Payne stepped forward. "Every sample we have shows the same activity. And there's more." He tapped his data pad, displaying classified footage from the alien vessel's quarantine bay. This was recorded yesterday. The video showed the sealed breach where Jack had died. Around it, the alien material pulsed with a rhythm that matched exactly the movements of his blood cells. "It's almost like they're communicating," Kate said softly. As if responding to her words, the lab lights flickered. The blood sample under the microscope began moving faster, and for a brief moment, Olivia felt a familiar presence, as if Jack were standing right beside her. An alert sounded on the Admiral's device. "We've got company," he said, his expression grim. "A Viridian delegation has just entered Earth's orbit, requesting to speak with human leadership." "Viridians?" Olivia asked. "The species who built the vessel. They've been watching us for centuries, apparently, and they're very interested in Lieutenant Harding." Kate looked confused. "But he's dead." "Yes," Admiral Payne said, looking directly at Olivia. "And yet, according to them, his influence is just beginning. They say his blood has awakened something dormant in human DNA, something they've been waiting for." That night, Olivia dreamed of Jack. He stood before her, his form outlined in purple light, trying to speak words she couldn't hear. When she woke, her research notes were covered with equations she didn't remember writing, formulas describing genetic sequences far beyond current human science. Across Earth and its colonies, the first unexplained phenomena began. Children suddenly solving complex mathematical problems, plants growing in previously barren soil, terminal patients showing mysterious improvements. Something had changed in the galaxy, and Jack Harding's blood was only the beginning. 3 months after Jack's death, Olivia woke in a cold sweat for the 5th night in a row. The dreams were becoming more vivid. Jack's voice, once distant and fragmented, now spoke to her with clarity. "It's spreading, Liv. I can feel them all." She fumbled for the light and checked her comm unit. 3 missed calls from Kate. A message flashed. "New cases reported. Come to the lab immediately." The streets of New Washington were eerily quiet at 4 a.m. Only the occasional military patrol passed by, a reminder of the growing tension since the Viridians made contact. When Olivia reached the research center, she found Kate surrounded by holographic displays of medical data. 67 new cases overnight, Kate said without looking up. "The pattern is accelerating." Olivia scanned the reports. a 7-year-old girl in Australia who could interface directly with computers. A farming colony on Mars reporting crop yields 3 times normal rates. A cancer ward in Tokyo where every patient had entered spontaneous remission. The Viridians were right, Olivia murmured. Something in our DNA is changing. Kate nodded, bringing up a microscopic view of Jack's blood sample, now kept in a special containment field. These aren't just cells anymore. They've become something between biological matter and technology, self-replicating nanites that can transmit genetic information. How is this possible? Olivia asked, though she already suspected the answer. The Viridian ambassador says Jack's unique genetic structure was the key. When his blood made contact with their technology, it created a bridge, a signal that's spreading across human populations, activating dormant genetic potential. Olivia remembered her dream. He said he can feel them all. Everyone who's changing. Kate gave her a concerned look. Olivia, Jack is dead. I know that. She pressed her fingers to her temples, but something of him remains, something more than memory. The lab door slid open as Admiral Payne entered, looking like he hadn't slept in days. They're calling it the Harding effect, he said, his voice rough. And not everyone sees it as a gift. General Porter has convinced half the Joint Chiefs that we're facing a threat to human purity. They want to quarantine everyone showing changes. That's thousands of people already, Kate protested. And growing. The Admiral handed Olivia a secure tablet. The Viridians shared this with me directly. They asked for you specifically. The tablet contained a star chart with a pulsing light at its center. As Olivia touched the screen, a strange sensation washed over her, knowledge flowing directly into her mind. They're not the only ones watching us now, she said, the words coming from somewhere beyond her conscious thoughts. The Corhans have noticed the change. They've sent scouts to the outer colonies. Admiral Payne stared at her. How could you possibly know that? We just received reports of unknown vessels near Saturn's moons. Before she could answer, the lights in the lab flickered. Jack's blood sample began to glow, the containment field struggling to hold it. A face appeared in the swirling pattern, Jack's face, before dissolving back into chaos. He's trying to warn us, Olivia whispered. The Admiral's comm unit beeped with an emergency alert. The first children affected by the Harding effect had begun demonstrating abilities that defied scientific explanation. A pair of twins in Brazil had created a field of energy that short-circuited all technology within 50 meters. A boy in Kenya had grown structures from his fingertips that were neither flesh nor machine. The changes are happening faster than anyone predicted, Kate said, reviewing the incoming data. It's like evolution suddenly decided to sprint instead of crawl. Olivia looked at Jack's blood, still pulsing with impossible life. Not evolution, she said quietly. Revolution. And it's only just beginning. The underground facility hummed with activity as Olivia and Kate hurried through the narrow corridor. 6 months had passed since they'd been forced to flee the research center, barely escaping General Porter's soldiers. Admiral Payne is waiting in the command room, said their escort, a young soldier whose eyes glowed faintly blue, a common trait among those most affected by the Harding effect. The command center was a repurposed mining cavern beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens displayed information from resistance cells across Earth and the colonies. Admiral Payne stood at the central table, his uniform replaced by civilian clothes. Porter's forces raided 3 more medical facilities last night, he said as they approached. They're taking anyone showing signs of change, especially children. Olivia felt a familiar anger rise within her. Where are they holding them? That's why I called you here. Payne activated a holographic display showing a massive orbital station. Our intelligence suggests Porter has converted the old lunar gateway into a research facility. They're studying the changed. Kate studied the schematics. Security looks tight. We'd need an army to break in there. Or something better than an army, came a voice from the doorway. They turned to see a group of teenagers enter, the first generation of the significantly changed. Their leader, a 16-year-old named Ryan, could manipulate electrical fields with his mind. "We can get in," Ryan said confidently. "The Viridians provided us with technology that can mask our signatures." Olivia felt a familiar sensation, the strange connection that had grown stronger each day since Jack's death. Sometimes she could almost see through his eyes, glimpsing strange landscapes and alien architectures. "The Viridians contacted you directly?" she asked. Ryan nodded. "They say we're approaching a tipping point. Either humanity embraces the change, or Porter and his kind ensure we never reach our potential," Kate finished. A technician rushed into the room. "We've intercepted a military transmission. Corran ships have been detected entering the solar system, at least 30 vessels." The room fell silent. The Corrans had been probing human defenses for months, but this was different. "They know about Porter's research station," Olivia said suddenly, information flowing into her mind through her connection with Jack. "They're planning to take the changed humans for themselves." "How can you know that?" Payne asked, though his tone suggested he already understood. Before she could answer, Payne shot through Olivia's head. She stumbled, and the lights in the command center flickered. When she opened her eyes, everyone was staring at her. "Your eyes," Kate whispered. "They're glowing purple." Olivia took a deep breath. "It's getting stronger." Jack's consciousness, what's left of it, exists in some kind of quantum state. He's connected to both the Viridian technology and everyone affected by his blood. "Can he help us?" Ryan asked. "He's trying." Olivia straightened, newfound knowledge flowing through her. "Porter doesn't understand what he's dealing with. The changed humans aren't just evolved. They're becoming something between biological and technological, a bridge between species." An alarm blared through the facility. The main screen showed 5 military transport ships descending toward their location. "We've been compromised," Payne said grimly. Kate accessed the security system. "We have 20 minutes at most before they breach our defenses." Olivia closed her eyes, reaching for Jack's presence. For a moment, she felt him clearly, not just his consciousness, but his determination, his love. When she opened her eyes, she knew what they had to do. "We can't run anymore," she said firmly. "It's time to show Porter and the world what the changed are capable of. And then we need to prepare for the Corrans." Ryan and the other changed teenagers stepped forward, their bodies beginning to emit soft light. "We're with you," Ryan said. "Jack's blood changed us. Now we'll change everything else." 1 year after Jack's sacrifice, the world had transformed beyond recognition. Olivia stood on the observation deck of the Viridian embassy ship, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The blue planet now pulsed with strange new energy signatures visible only to those who had embraced the change. 20% of the human population shows significant alteration, Kate said, reviewing data on her tablet. Most dramatic in children, and those exposed to Jack's blood samples directly. Admiral Payne joined them, his face grim. "The Corran fleet has expanded to 73 ships. They've already raided 3 outer colonies." The door slid open as Ryan entered. At 17, he had become a leader among the changed youth. The metallic patterns that had begun as faint lines on his skin now covered his arms in complex circuits. "We lost contact with New Mars colony," he reported. "The Corrans took everyone. 300 people, mostly children." Olivia closed her eyes, reaching for the familiar presence that had become her constant companion. Jack's consciousness flowed through her mind, showing her fragments of Corran ships and captured humans in strange containers. "They're harvesting them," she whispered, "taking DNA samples and brain tissue. They want to understand the change and replicate it." Without understanding what truly caused it, came a melodic voice. They turned to see the Viridian ambassador enter. The alien's translucent form shifted constantly, bands of light flowing through an only vaguely humanoid shape. "Jack's sacrifice was not random," the ambassador continued. "We identified his genetic structure 20 Earth years ago. He was a keystone, a rare human whose DNA contains sequences compatible with our technology. You knew he would die? Kate asked, her voice sharp. We knew he would transform, the ambassador corrected. What remains of Jack Harding exists beyond physical form, but is still very much present. A tremor ran through the ship as alarms blared. The main view screen activated, showing 5 Korhen warships approaching Earth. They're targeting the defense grid, Payne said, watching tactical displays. Porter's forces won't be able to hold them off alone. Olivia felt Jack's presence surge within her mind, more focused than ever before. Knowledge and understanding flowed through her. Schematics for technology beyond human development. Battle strategies developed over millennia. We need to stop fighting each other and face the real threat, she said. The Korhens won't stop until they've taken every changed human. Porter will never work with us, Ryan objected. He still believes we're abominations. Then we'll have to show him otherwise. Olivia turned to Kate. How many volunteers do we have for the activation procedure? Kate checked her data. 300 soldiers from the Resistance. The process is still risky. Not everyone survives the transition. But those who do will be able to interface directly with Viridian technology, Payne added. It might give us the edge we need. The ambassador moved closer, light pulsing more rapidly through its form. There is another option. We have completed the biosynthetic vessel using the template from Jack's consciousness. It is ready, but untested. Olivia's heart raced. You can bring him back. Not as he was, the ambassador cautioned, but his essence could guide this form. It would be temporary. Such a structure cannot maintain stability for long. Another alarm sounded. The Korhens had broken through the outer defense line. Earth's conventional forces were falling back. Olivia felt Jack's desire through their connection, his need to protect humanity, to finish what his sacrifice had started. Do it, she said firmly. Activate the vessel. As the ambassador left to prepare the procedure, Olivia looked out at her homeworld. Humanity stood at evolution's edge, caught between what they had been and what they might become. Their survival would depend on embracing the very change that had divided them, and on Jack Harding's final return. The Viridian laboratory hummed with energy as the biosynthetic chamber pulsed with purple light. Olivia pressed her hand against the transparent surface, feeling the warmth beneath her fingers. Inside, a humanoid form gradually took shape, features becoming more defined with each passing minute. Vital signs stabilizing, Kate reported, monitoring the complex equipment. Neural patterns are aligning with the quantum signature. Admiral Payne entered the lab, his uniform torn and face smudged with smoke. We need to hurry. The Korhens have broken through the lunar defense line. They've taken 3 more Earth cities. How many casualties? Olivia asked without taking her eyes off the chamber. Thousands. Porter's conventional forces are falling back to the emergency bunkers. Even the changed volunteers are struggling to hold the line. The chamber's rhythmic pulse suddenly accelerated. The figure inside moved, fingers twitching as systems came online. Olivia felt the familiar presence in her mind grow stronger, more focused. Jack, she whispered. The eyes of the biosynthetic form opened, human in appearance, but with faint purple light emanating from within. The chamber hissed as it unsealed itself. The figure that emerged looked remarkably like Jack Harding, though his skin had a slight translucent quality, with traces of circuitry visible beneath the surface. He moved with careful precision, as if relearning how to control a physical form. Olivia, he said, his voice exactly as she remembered, but with a subtle harmonic undertone. I've missed you. For a moment, the war faded away as they embraced. Olivia felt the strange warmth of his new body, neither fully machine nor truly flesh. You remember everything? She asked. Jack nodded. My death. The transformation. Everything I've seen since then. His expression grew troubled. The Korhens aren't just invaders. They believe the changed humans are the next step in evolution, one they want to control or destroy. The lab shook as an explosion rocked the Viridian ship. They found us, Payne said grimly. Jack turned to the admiral. I need to see our forces. The command center was filled with wounded resistance fighters. On the main screen, dozens of red dots represented Korhan ships advancing toward Earth. Ryan approached Jack cautiously. Is it really you? Jack smiled, placing a hand on the young man's shoulder. A visible current of energy passed between them, causing the circuitry patterns on Ryan's skin to glow brighter. I've been watching you all, Jack said. What you've become is extraordinary. Not extraordinary enough, Ryan replied. Their weapons tear through our defenses. We can't hold them off much longer. Jack studied the tactical display. We've been fighting conventionally. That's their advantage. He turned to address the room. The changed aren't just enhanced humans. You're the beginning of something new, a bridge between biology and technology. He stepped to the center of the room, and his body began to emit waves of purple energy. Our ships have been retrofitted with Viridian tech, Olivia said, but most of our pilots can't fully interface with it. They can now, Jack replied. As he spoke, the energy spreading from his body connected with every changed human in the room. Their eyes glowed in response, and the circuitry patterns on their skin activated. I can see the systems, one pilot gasped. The ship's controls, they're in my head. Jack turned to Olivia. This body won't last long. The energy required to maintain it is already breaking down the synthetic tissues. But it should be enough time. Time for what? She asked, though part of her already knew the answer. To show humanity what they can become. He looked around the room. To give them a fighting chance. As alarms blared announcing the approach of the Korhan flagship, Jack took Olivia's hand one last time. I'm leading a strike team to their command ship, he said softly. This form may be temporary, but what I started won't end with me. Olivia wanted to protest, to find another way, but the connection they shared let her understand the truth. This had always been Jack's path, from his first sacrifice to what would be his last. I'll bring our people home, she promised. The assault shuttle trembled as it approached the massive Korhan flagship. Through the viewport, Earth looked small and vulnerable, surrounded by the invading fleet. Jack stood at the front of the craft, his biosynthetic body now showing visible signs of deterioration. Thin cracks ran across his skin, leaking purple light. 5 minutes to contact, Ryan announced from the pilot's seat. His hands weren't touching the controls. His mind connected directly to the ship's systems. Olivia moved to Jack's side. The other teams are in position. Admiral Payne's forces are drawing fire from the smaller vessels. Jack nodded. The Korhan Emperor is aboard this ship. He wants to witness the harvesting personally. How do you know that? Asked one of the changed soldiers. I can feel them all now, Jack replied quietly. The connections are growing stronger as this body weakens. The barriers between minds are falling away. The shuttle docked with a controlled crash, breaching the Korhan hull. The strike team moved efficiently through the alien corridors, the changed humans using their new abilities to disable security systems and neutralize defenders. Jack walked at their center, each step leaving faint glowing footprints that faded slowly. Energy continued to leak from the widening cracks in his synthetic flesh. We don't have much time, Olivia said, noting his condition with growing concern. Enough to finish this, Jack assured her as they reached the central chamber. The doors slid open to reveal the Korhan Emperor, a massive figure with gray-scaled skin and multiple cybernetic enhancements. Around him, dozens of humans floated in containment fields, their bodies being systematically sampled by automated systems. A catalyst arrives, the Emperor said, his voice unexpectedly melodic. We wondered if you would come in person. Jack stepped forward. Release them. Leave Earth and its colonies. This is your only warning. The Emperor laughed. Your new form is already failing. The changed humans are impressive but few. What hope do you have against an empire that spans galaxies? As he spoke, more Korhan soldiers poured into the chamber from hidden entrances, surrounding the strike team. Now, Jack said calmly. The changed humans raised their hands in unison, creating a field of energy that temporarily disabled the Korhan weapons. Ryan and his team moved to free the captives while Olivia and Jack approached the Emperor. "Your evolution was unexpected," the Emperor admitted. "But it will serve the Korhan Empire well once we understand it fully." Jack's body was now glowing brightly, the cracks spreading across his face. "You misunderstand what's happening here. This isn't just evolution, it's transcendence." He turned to Olivia, his expression peaceful despite his deteriorating form. "It was always meant to end this way. My first sacrifice opened the door. This one will show everyone through it." "Jack, there has to be another way," Olivia pleaded. "There isn't." He smiled. "But this isn't goodbye. What I am now can't be destroyed, only transformed again." The Emperor lunged forward, but Jack raised his hand. The biosynthetic body began to dissolve, releasing waves of energy that spread throughout the chamber. As his physical form faded, Jack's consciousness expanded, connecting not just with the changed humans, but with every human mind that carried the activated DNA. Across Earth and its colonies, people gasped as their minds briefly touched something vast and beautiful. Children's eyes glowed purple as they looked to the sky. Hospital patients rose from their beds, suddenly healed. Soldiers fighting Korans found themselves coordinating perfectly without words. On the flagship, Olivia felt Jack's presence fill her mind completely. Through him, she connected to Ryan, then to the other changed humans, then to millions more. A network of consciousness formed in an instant, spanning planets and moons. The Emperor staggered back as the changed humans moved in perfect unison, their combined abilities overwhelming his forces. "What is this?" he demanded. "Humanity's next step," Olivia answered, her eyes glowing. "Jack's gift to us all." The Korhan fleet retreated within hours, their weapons and technology no match for the unified consciousness of humanity. Where division had once weakened Earth's defense, unity now made it unbreakable. 3 months later, Olivia stood on the observation deck of the first truly human Viridian hybrid ship. The stars stretched before them as they prepared for their first journey beyond the solar system. "He's still with us, isn't he?" Ryan asked, joining her. Olivia nodded, feeling the familiar presence that now connected all changed humans, a consciousness that had once been Jack Harding but had become something more. "Not just with us," she said softly. "He is us, and we are just beginning."